Hey, how's it going? Hope your day's going well. And in this video, we have another project slash contest where we're going to build a project that's geared more towards the beginner developer. And why I say beginner developer is because we're going to focus on specifically HTML and CSS. That's right, no JavaScript. And so with that being said, let's navigate to the mockup. Well, now if you download the project from the link in the description, you should have pretty much everything you need to get started, including the mockup that's contained in the asset mockup folder. Now, if you look here, what we're gonna build is a post slash style card where we're gonna have the post author name sitting right here, the post image, then the post title with the date, and plus the post brief. And we're gonna also add a little button at the bottom that just says read more. So as you can see, what we're trying to build is fairly straightforward and there's nothing that should trip us up too much. So now with that being said, let's actually navigate back to our index file and actually start our solution. Okay, so what I like to typically do when I first start these solutions is just right off the bat, create a section that's going to house pretty much everything that we're going to build. I just actually go back to our section really quick and add a class here, and we should just call it post. Okay, so now that we have that, let's actually navigate back to our mockup really quick and see. So we have, again, our author, image, title, date, a brief, then to read more. Okay. Now, from here, we can use the paragraph tag to add our author, but instead of doing that, I'm just gonna go with a div for this one, simply because we do not, since we're gonna have to overwrite a lot of the built-in styling that comes with the paragraph anyways. Instead of doing that, let's just use the div so we don't have to overwrite pretty much anything that the paragraph actually gives us. Okay, so for the class name, let's just use the post as a prefix and we'll just call this author. Okay, looks good. And let's just quickly grab the author name off from the side. Now you can actually break this author div up to a little bit more. Like you can have the author title and then the actual author name. You could break that up a little bit more, but for now we're gonna just do this and continue on to our next element. And our next element, at least from our mockup standpoint, will be the post image. So from there, we'll just use the image. We actually do not want to add the slash in the beginning. We just want to add asset image post. There we go. Then from there, we could just call it just post. And since we're here, let's just quickly add our class so we can target this within our CSS. So that'll be post slash just call it image. There we go. And then from there, we can move down to the next element. The next element will be our post title. So let's just go back to our index from there and we'll just say, well, same thing as the post author. Instead of using a paragraph, we'll just use a div for that. And instead of just copying, instead of writing everything out, we'll just copy it and then call this title. And same thing like the post author, we'll just grab this off from the side. Now you can just type this out yourself. You don't have to, because you can just type it out yourself. But for me, I'll just copy it off from the side. Let's see. Okay, now we have that. Let's go and grab the date. Same thing from that. We don't necessarily want to use a paragraph for that. We'll just use a div and just copy that. And same thing like the title. Let's just grab that from the side. There we go. Okay, and okay, so yeah, again, instead of I was just about to type it out, but instead of just typing it out, we could just copy everything and we could just call this the body, post body. And same thing, we don't necessarily want to type all of that out. Now we actually could, for the post body, actually use a paragraph, because if you go back to our design, or at least our mockup design, we can see that we have a bunch of padding on the top and the bottom of our body section. So while the author doesn't have any padding on the top or bottom, or really the margin, because I know the paragraph tag doesn't come with padding built in, it comes with margin. So we actually could swap that over to a paragraph, okay, and still look good. And now let's actually go down and, yep, add our readme. Now the readme is most likely going to be an anchor tag or a link to something else. So let's just, for this standpoint, let's just add a anchor tag. Yep. And just for now, let's just have it navigate to, Google. Again, since this is just an example. And then from the actual text for our anchor, and I'll just grab it off from the side, readme in all caps, great. And let's actually add the class. Let's not forget that. Okay, we'll just call that, we'll call it read me. Great. Okay, so let's see. Let's do a quick recap, and we actually can save that and reload. Now reload our browser off from the right hand side. So let's see what we have. So we have everything. We have our post author, we have the image, post image, we have the post title and the date, and we have the post body. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the post, the paragraph tag already has built-in spacing in the form of margin. So if we just kind of, yep, if we inspect our paragraph, we can see the orange around our body is the margin. So yep. While if we navigate back up to something like the post date, it has nothing at all. And it's exactly what we want. So instead of us providing or defining that information correctly, it would already come pre-inherited. Great. Okay, now that we have that, let's navigate. Now that we have our structure all in place, let's actually navigate to our style and add the style. Okay, let's open our style. Since we don't necessarily need anything else, but before we actually close the sidebar, let's actually open our style guide. Our style guide is gonna show us all of our colors that we're gonna need, plus the font weight, and now, and for me, at least for the most important part, is the actual sizes of all of our different elements. So like we have the author as the 16 pixels, which is going to be our light font weight. Then we have the title, medium weight, date, body, and the readme. So yep, that's great. Again, if you download the project template file, all of this is going to come with the project template. So you don't have to try to figure this all out on your own. Very good stuff. Okay. Okay, now let's actually open our index file again, and let's just start copying, or yeah, let's actually start copying all of our design over, or all of our elements over. So it's going to be our post. I think we need what, the post author image. Copy that. Our post author. This will be our image. Okay, what else? We need the title, date, body. Actually, you can just copy this instead of typing it out. That's the title, date. There we go. Have it there, so we can save that, and we actually up. Okay, we'll see that post itself is a little bit too big. So first thing first, we're gonna want to do is add the background to our post background color. So which is going to be this white color right here. So let's just grab that and say background color. Find it white color. I'm gonna go over here and load it. There we go. We see the white color. Let's actually add a width on this also to that's like one. Yeah, that's way too small. So let's just try 375. See how well that looks. Okay, better. But now that we have our image, our post image is kind of overflowing our parent. So what we're gonna want to do is go back down to the post image and let's just set its width to 100, which is basically going to just constrain itself to whatever its parent is. Reload it. There we go. Looks good. Now that we have that, let's go back to our design. What we see is that we have a little bit of padding on the edge, at least, yeah, around image and pretty much around the whole thing. So to do that, we're going to want to use the padding for that. Padding, let's try 16 pixels and see how well that looks. Since the style guide doesn't define, the style guide doesn't define spacing, like, so your padding, your margin. So we're gonna just kind of plug it in, see how well it looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's see. Okay, now let's go back to our post author and let's start manipulating that. Now we do not need to set if you go back to our style guide says that the post author should be 16 pixels. But if we go back to our style, the body has already defined the font sizes at 16 pixels. So we don't necessarily need to explicitly set the post author as that, since the body is already defining pretty much all of the font sizes as 16 pixels. Okay. But if we go back to our style guide, we need the weight set as 300, or basically the light. So we could do that. Font size as 100, light 300. Yep, there we go. That looks good. Back over here. Let's see. I think did it change? I believe so. Go back to our mockup. Yeah. It looks pretty close. Okay. What else do we need? Okay, so we're gonna need to set the color. Yeah, because the color over here is this black color, but on the mockup, it's this like a grayish hue or grayish color. Okay, so the grayish color would probably be what? This twilight color. So let's just go back there and let's do color as let's see, var. There we go. Twilight. We're gonna need 2 dashes. Dash. There we go. Save that. Reload. So we have that. Gross. Go back to our mockup. Seem like okay. So we have like a little bit of space between the post title or the post author and the actual image. So let's add that. Let's use the margin bottom. Let's try 16 pixels. Okay, yeah, that pushes off a little bit. Okay, a little bit too much, but let's actually try 16. Yeah, 16 probably looks a little bit better. Then we have that. Now we have that. Let's go down to the title. Start making changes there. So the title needs 22 pixels and it needs medium. Okay. Let's grab. Wait, does it change the color at all? I don't think so. I think the color looks pretty good. Or maybe, yeah, I don't think we need to change the color at all. Yeah. Okay, so let's just grab the font size. Font size being 22. Or the font. Oh, wait a minute. That's the problem. No. It's supposed to be font weight. Can't believe I didn't catch that. Yeah, there we go. Now it's that thinner color. And font weight of the title should be that medium, which is 500. So now we just need to, wait a minute. Did it again. Supposed to be font weight. And it's supposed to be font size of 20 pixels. There we go. 22 pixels. Okay, yeah, there we go. Pretty good. So what else? Set the I need to set some space between the title and the post image. So let's just do that. Let's set it as margin. So with the author, we set the margin bottom for the title. Let's just set the margin top. So 8 pixels there. Let's set that. Okay, looks good. Yep, that looks pretty good. Okay. Now that we have that, let's go. So let's do a quick recap. We have the post author image. We set the image width, so we don't necessarily, I don't think we need to do anything more than that. If we go back to our mockup, yeah, that looks pretty close. We don't need to do anything there. The title looks pretty good. I think the title probably can be a little bit more, probably have a little bit like thicker weight. Let's actually zoom out a little bit from there. Yeah, if we zoom out, the design actually starts to look a little bit better. Okay. Back in here. Actually need to back out. There we go. If we go back to our style, then head back to our date. What do we need for the date? We need a lighter color, and then we're gonna need space between the date and the title. Okay, so let's do that. Let's add. Then do we need to change the size of it? Date, light. Okay, so we do need to set the light weight of it. The light weight, I believe, is what is the light weight? Light weight is 300. So we could just copy from there, grab it, and paste it. The font color, we're gonna need to change font color being that lighter color that we tried on the author, but a little bit too light. Set that there, and we're gonna need some space. Date in the title. So again, we're gonna use margin top to do that. Yeah, let's do margin top to do that. And we don't need 8 pixels. 8 pixels might be a little bit too much. Or maybe not. Yeah. I think 8 pixels actually looks pretty good. Okay, so we don't need to do much there. I just hit right down to our body then. So for our body, we're gonna need to go back to our style guide, see if we need to change anything there. We just need to change the weight, it looks like. And I think we actually need to change the color also. Yeah, I think the color has like a little, like a darker gray instead of black. Oh, let's go ahead back to our style. And then since we need a font weight of light being 300, so we just copy it from there. We can set the color of, oh, I think might be this color. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. Yeah, I think it's gonna look a little bit. Can we actually zoom out more? Yeah, yeah. Once you actually zoom out of the mock-up and compare it to what we were building, it actually looks pretty close to what we are trying to build. Okay, that looks good. Let's see what else. Now that we have the title, date, and we have the body. Now, I think the last thing we need to do is work on the post read. I think the class for the button it's actually post read me, not just read. Okay. There we go. Paste. So for that, what we're gonna want to do is, I think the same thing here. We're gonna want to. Okay, so it's font weight of medium. So we could just grab the font weight from here and set that to 500. 500 being the medium. Yep. And we're just gonna need to set the color. The color, I think, is this blue color. Okay, let's set that. Color. There we go. Bar. And yep, that bluish color. Yep. And then the last thing we need to do is just kind of remove that underline. Now to remove the underline, it's gonna be called text decoration. I believe. So decoration applies to the font used for an element text. Yeah, then we just say none. Load, and there we go. Looks pretty good. Okay, yeah, we can just review our design really quick. We actually probably don't want to zoom in too much because we already noticed that the design, when it's zoomed in, doesn't necessarily meet what we're actually building. Okay, now I think we need to do actually one more. If you see the space in between our lines for our body, it seems like on the mock-up is a little bit more than what we have. So let's actually change that out really quick. So let's go back to our style and then head back to our post body. And from there, I believe it's I think it's like line height, I believe. Let's just try 1.3. I don't think that's in pixels. There we go. Yeah, it's not in pixels. Just a float value. I think we actually can add a little bit more space. Oops. I think we can add a little bit more space between that. Okay, yeah. It gives us a little bit more. Yeah, okay. That looks a little bit better and closer to our design. Yep, I don't see anything else that we need to change or we can tweak. Well, I guess from this standpoint, we can, break this up, break up our post author. We can, probably change the date format, but to do that, we're gonna need, we'll typically do that with JavaScript when your data comes in from maybe like an API or something like that. Then you can apply whatever format you want to your date. So since this is just a straight HTML and CSS, we're not really doing that in this video. What else? I think that's about it, to be honest. Well, okay, we probably actually can change the title. Call it postcard. Yeah, there we go. So there we go. Here's another video that you can use to, do a little bit of practice on if you're still in that learning phase of HTML and CSS, which again doesn't require any JavaScript, at least for this video. Now, if this video was helpful in any way, remember to go on down in the comment section and let me know, or if this video wasn't not helpful, also go in the comment section and let me know. Like, until the next video, see you later, and thanks for watching.